Washington has announced additional tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods, forcing the talks into a deadlock. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has given its response. Take a listen.
China will have to take countermeasures in response to the U.S. raising tariffs on Chinese goods.
U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly claimed that China will bear the brunt of the tariffs and pay billions to the U.S. However, in an interview with Fox News, the head of the U.S. National Economic Council said the escalating trade dispute harms both sides. He acknowledged that American consumers will end up paying for tariffs on imports.
A major setback for the trade talks between China and the U.S. Until last week, there were expectations that the two countries would strike a deal before the G20 summit in June. However, a tariff war is reignited with the U.S. increasing tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. U.S. President Donald Trump believes the U.S. Treasury was benefiting from these massive payments by China. But Larry Kudlow, who heads the U.S. National Economic Council, admits that this is not exactly the case.
Because the president says it pays the tariffs. They may suffer consequences, but it's U.S. businesses and U.S. consumers who pay, correct?
Yes, to some extent. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Again, both sides will suffer on this.
Despite the setbacks in the negotiations, China and the U.S. are still prepared to continue talking.
The talks will continue, and I will say this is a G20 meeting in Japan toward the end of June next month. The chances that President Trump and President Xi will get together at that meeting are probably pretty good.
For that, China suggests both sides should deal with the trade war with utmost rationality. But China is fully prepared to fight one.
If the U.S. increases tariffs, we must respond. We surely hope that the U.S. side will adopt a restrained attitude, and the Chinese side will also do so as to avoid an infinite escalation.
Liu He says what China wants is a trade deal that's equal and respects the dignity of both sides. There are some key disparities to close, but it must address the country's core concerns.